Guerrilla Warfare is the 10th episode of Beast Wars, airing October 14th, 1996. In it, Scorponok infects Optimus with a virus which is meant to make him a coward, but goes in the reverse and makes him a berserker. Shenanigans ensue. The episode's title is a play on guerrilla warfare, which was not actually shown in the episode. Of rapid stealth insurgency. It's actually a pretty decent waterfall effect, especially for the time. The show actually remembers that the Maximals are explorers, not warriors, so Primal's actually investigating the world with Dinobot, and they come across a plant that shoots a thing on Dinobot's neck, which looks really weird in this shot. Primal says that it shot him in the spot that he can't reach, even though it kinda looks like Dinobot can. Scorponok, of all people, ambushes them, and apparently he's smart enough to make a mechanical bee which can attach to Optimus and be his life support, but he's dumb enough that apparently it was meant to make him a coward instead of a berserker like it actually does. Also, Scorponok's eyes go from yellow to red, and he's got a Predacon badge on his chest, which sometimes exists and most of the time doesn't.
You hear me? I'll blow your heads off!
I guess when else am I ever going to reference this, but there is also a planned episode for Beast Wars called The Greater Ape, where Primal accidentally gets a head wound and he thinks that he's a gorilla, and he gets together with a lady gorilla. But Mainframe Animation turned the idea down because they didn't want to make unique gorilla models just for them to never use them again. This is really the episode that shows they had no idea what they were doing with Scorponok, because out of nowhere he's apparently a scientist. Megatron spends the entire episode in beast mode for some reason. This is our first time seeing Optimus' sword since the second episode. We see a little more of his mask down so he looks more like Optimus Prime, and just for some reason he never likes keeping his mask down. This is our first time seeing the Maximal Armory, and apparently Cheetor has multiple of the same gun. Out of all bots, Dinobot is like, maybe we should negotiate first. Something I didn't really realize until I checked the TF Wiki, but yes, Megatron never says Cheetor's name in the entirety of Beast Wars. Also, Cheetor mentions Mainframe Combat. Mainframe Animation is the people who made basically every CGI show of the 90s and early 2000s. Megatron can still stand despite being a T-Rex and kicking someone. This part where Primal bursts through the wall, grabs Waspinator, and tosses him out another wall is very similar to the original RoboCop film from 1987. Optimus mentions that his spark is fading. This is the first ever in all of Transformer media outside the comics to mention sparks. But we'll talk more about that in 5 episodes. This is our first time seeing Primal's room, and Dinobot being nice, and giving him a plant, and some lesson about thinking about your actions and not just bursting in head first. This is a really good episode, but it has some flaws. I like the irony of Dinobot being put in his place because it's the idea that he definitely would do to just burst into the dark side, guns blazing, and he's got to be the one to realize that's stupid. And I liked seeing Dinobot grow as a character and be concerned for Prime. The action's great, the lighting's amazing in this episode. This is basically the closest thing we get to a Scorponok episode. I like seeing more of the Maximals exploring the world. And I like seeing the range for Gary Chalk's Optimus. Usually he's very calm and stoic, but of course here he's raging. I kind of wish there was more Gary Chalk Optimus. But Dinobot's character in the episode feels a little too flip-floppy because he's completely willing to use Bezerkers Prime and throw him at the Predacons, but then when they actually do that, he starts feeling concerned for him. The Maximals just assume there's an antivirus. The Predacons have it, but they never actually state they have it, and everyone just knows it exists. And Scorponok continues to be just whatever the plot demands for the episode. But overall, I'll probably give this episode an 8 for sheer entertainment value.